All right, we are recording and I just have to pull up my notes and then we will just go ahead and get started because you guys are on here and all right. So, I wanted to do this training tonight on something that we heard a lot about at Monations, and it was this um, saying that we heard from a lot of different leaders, and we heard from the different SEDs that were brought up to speak about their business. And they kind of kept saying one thing over and over again, and it was that you have to make the decision. And you might be thinking to yourself, okay, like, what's the decision? The decision is when you are going from simply being interested in working this business, simply being interested in hitting MMB or or becoming a founder, whatever goal it is that you're putting out there. It's from being interested to being committed. And it's literally a decision, but it's a decision that one, you have to make daily, and two, it's easier said than done. A lot of people will say that they're committed, they will say that they want it, but the commitment's not actually there. And it's very, very easy to tell if someone is committed or if someone is just interested. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about tonight. I'm going to minimize the chat just so I can have like my notes side by side. So if I miss any questions, you guys can still drop them in the chat. I will just get them after. All right, so first thing I wanted to talk about, if you were at Monations, you're on this call, I know a few of you girls were, Hannah and Madeline. This might be a little bit redundant for you, but I promise this is not what the whole call is going to be about, so please stick around. But I did want to tell the girls who weren't there, Sarah Reed is one of the SEDs and the speakers that they had at Monations, and they had her go up on stage and talk about specifically how she got unstuck in her business. And I think it's easy for us to look at SEDs or girls at the top of the company or who are at where we want to be and to think, okay, it must have been easy. It must have been like a straight shot to success. And that's not the case. And that's what she shed light on. And a lot of what she was talking about in terms of being stuck was the fact that she was playing in this interested phase. Like she was just interested in being successful, but she was not yet committed and she couldn't understand why she was staying stuck in her business. And so they had her come up on stage, and just to give you guys a little bit of background, she talked about how she had hit MMB in her business in 4 weeks. And then after those 4 weeks, she sat at MMB in the business for 2 years. Okay, so she was stuck at MMB for 2 years. Okay, actually I can see the chat. It does pop up, so perfect. And guess what, you guys? She said that the moment that she made the decision to be committed, to go all in on her business, it took 8 months and she hit SED, the top of the company, making $100,000 a month. It took 8 months for her to go all the way from MMB to SED the moment that she just decided, I'm committed. I'm no longer interested. I'm no longer playing around. This isn't an option for me. I'm doing this. When she went from interested to committed, it took her 8 months to hit the top of the company. And she said it wasn't necessarily a difference in things that she was doing. It was the fact that she went from being 50% in to 110% in. She finally made that commitment to like I'm doing the damn thing. Like it's not an option anymore. It's happening. And so I just wanted to share that with you guys who weren't at Monations, because I thought that that would be very powerful for you, because she literally said it was a one moment decision. It wasn't a switch in like her daily things. It wasn't doing a whole lot more work. It was making a decision that she was committed to her business. So a quote I wanted to share with you guys is interested means that you'll do it when you feel like it. Committed means that you'll do whatever it takes. Okay, I'm going to share that again. Yay, Hannah, I'm glad you are still enjoying it because I didn't want it to be redundant. Interested means that you'll do it when you feel like it. Committed means that you'll do whatever it takes. How many of you are guilty of just doing things when you feel like it with this business? Thank you, Brittany. Thank you for the honesty. Okay. It is so refreshing. I would rather someone be like, hey, I have been fully just playing interested. Like, I have not been going all in for my business, than to act like you weren't, because then you're never going to get there. Right. So for you to be like, you know what, I have just been interested. That's the first step. And you have been fully committed lately, Brittany. So ever since, okay, perfect. I love that you guys are getting vulnerable. I love this. So if you really want to commit to something, you have to just make the decision that you're committed, that it's 100% happening, and that it does. Here's the key. You really have to wrap your head around. It doesn't matter how long it's going to take you. You have to decide that, because questions like, I wonder how long it's going to take me, or I wonder how I'm even going to get there. Like, you don't need to know the how, and you don't need to be concerned with how long it's going to take. If you were committed, none of those questions would even arise in your mind. It would just be like, go, 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 because you don't need to know the how. You need to know that you're committed and that you're going to show up every day and figure it out. That's all you need to know. So those questions would go away. The if would go away, and you would start to actually think big. It's time to draw a line in the sand and decide that you are committed to doing it 100%. You have to draw that line in the sand. It can't be like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. You have to make that like kind of scary commitment, scary decision that holds yourself accountable. This is something that Sarah Reed shared again at Monations, a quote that I was like, oh my God. She said, if you are letting people in your head, you might as well just give them the PIN to your bank account. And so if you are playing small here, or not putting yourself out there, or not reaching out to people, or not playing to your full potential because God forbid you are worried what so-and-so has to say about it, you might as well give that person the PIN to your bank account, because they are taking away your opportunity to change your life and to bring in an abundance of money and to help so many people. You're letting them take that from you. So you might as well give them the PIN to your bank account too. And it's a harsh reality, but I know so many people who may not even know it, but will play small in this business because they're worried about what their boyfriend thinks, or they're worried about what their friends think, or they're worried about what their aunt thinks because their aunt was in network marketing and she never made money or has an opinion on it. And it's like, who cares what so-and-so has to say about what you're doing? Britt, I did want to read your thing. Guys, I'll be totally honest with all of you. I want to so badly be able to buy a house. All of our friends have them. And I feel like a failure because we don't have it. This business can get me to that point 100%. And if you take the it or the if out of it, you know what I mean? Instead of saying like, if I could get to this rank in the business, then I would just be able to do that. When I get to that rank, I don't care if it takes 5 years, I will get that house. I will have that dream house that I want. We will have it. I don't care if it takes 10 years. I'm not giving up. When you take the if out of it, it just is crazy how much more powerful it becomes, because we're all waiting for that perfect time. If I could just make this amount of money, I could quit my job. If I could just get to this rank, I could finally be all in on my business. What about when? What about I'm going to be there no matter how long it takes, and when I get there, I'm going to have this. I want you guys to take the if out of your sentences. It's not a matter of if anymore. It's a matter of when you guys are going to make it happen. So sorry, I spent a lot of time on that quote, got really fired up there. So it also means deciding that you are going to stay laser focused and committed to your vision regardless of the background noise. So not everyone here, you guys, is going to support you on this journey. And if you're committed to your vision and to the mission that you have here, you're going to keep on moving anyway. Let's talk about accountability. So accountability is everything. You want to tell someone who matters to you. A lot of times this could be your upline, but if it's not, it doesn't have to be. You can go to a friend or a family member or someone who knows how much this means to you to help hold you accountable, and let them know about your big goal, about your big commitment and why you want it. And that way you can, and you want to be honest, guys, be honest in why you need it. I need this because I honestly am so burnt out at my 9-to-5 job. And like down the road, I really want to quit, and I need you to help me to hold myself accountable. Be real. Don't just be like, well, I really want to hit like this rank at the end of the month and get my caddy. Like, I know there's more to it. So be honest with this person. Even if it's your upline, be honest with them. Say, hey, I really need you to hold me accountable because I need to be committed to this because of X, Y, and Z. And then that way, like, of course, you know, you're going to show up for yourself, and I have faith in you guys that you guys will do that, but it holds a heavier weight and also helps to kind of motivate you to do so when you have someone that you really respect or who like you admire or look up to that is kind of holding you accountable and counting on you to show up as well. It feeds into that accountability factor. So the next thing is you're going to need to identify your excuses. It's something that Sarah talked about a lot. She was like, I was just making excuse after excuse after excuse about why I wasn't where I wanted to be, and it was my team, and no one wanted to work as hard as I wanted to, and everything, every excuse in the book. And she's like, I had to drop every single one of those to get unstuck. If you're just interested in your business, you're going to look for evidence everywhere to validate your excuses, that you're too busy, that you're not like her, that you're just not good at this, that just no one's interested. You're going to look for validation everywhere to validate those excuses. But if you're committed, you're just going to fucking start. You guys, if you're committed, you're just going to start. You're not waiting for the perfect time. You're not waiting for your life to calm down. You're not waiting for circumstances to get easier. You're just fucking starting right now. If you're committed, it doesn't matter what your circumstances look like in front of you. You're not waiting for ready. You know that ready doesn't exist, and you're as ready as you're ever going to be, and you're going for it. That's what being committed looks like. It also looks like monitoring your language around your goals. This is kind of what I was just talking about, but are you saying if, or are you saying when? Have your accountability buddy call you out when you do this. So you might not even pick up on when you're doing this or when you're engaging in this disempowering behavior because it's all you've ever known. I know I can relate to that. Like, I don't even sometimes notice when I'm doing it. And I know a lot of you guys can probably relate. Like, I'll be like, well, if I get this at the end of the month, or if I re-rank to MM, and I'm like, why am I talking like that? Like, why am I using that type of language, you know, about my goals when it should just be a when? Like, when I get there, if I'm not committed, I'm going to make it happen. So you might not even pick up on yourself doing it. So reach out to your accountability buddy and say, hey, like, if you see me talking like that and just saying, if I do this, if I do that, like, check me on it and let me know, because commitment is conviction, and there is no if with conviction. There is no if, there's no question. You're 100% all in. And going off of that, this is actually another thing from Monations. This is actually something that Tim Tebow talked about. His speech was really, really moving, and he talked, guys, it's a very common pattern that all the leaders, all the speakers talked about was conviction over emotion, being committed. There was a commonality between all of the speeches. So that should tell you something, that commitment is like number one when it comes to being successful. So are you someone who lives by your convictions, or are you someone who lives by your emotions? Because your emotions will tell you to only show up when you feel like it. Your convictions will tell you to show up regardless. Your convictions will tell you to show up. It doesn't matter what your circumstances look like. Your emotions will tell you to get an extra hour of sleep in the morning because you're tired. Your convictions will tell you to be the first person getting up and getting after it. So are you someone who lives by your emotions or your convictions? Because even if you're someone, and Ken's, I'm going to read your thing real quick. Ken's, I mean, we're all there. I mean, like, I would be lying if I told you I didn't, you know, in some ways live by my emotions 100%, and it's something we all can work on. So it's 100% though, you're right. It is something that holds us back because it limits us so much when we just show up when we feel like it, when circumstances are easy. You're only going to show up here and there when things are easy. That's like 10% of life, you guys. So you got to live by your convictions and show up even when you don't feel like it. If you're committed, you're someone who lives by your convictions. It's not a matter of how you feel, and it's not a matter of when circumstances will get better. It's a matter of showing up right now, regardless. Because if you're not, here's the harsh reality, you guys, someone else is. If you're not, there's someone else with the same circumstances that you're complaining about or using as an excuse for why you're not where you want to be. Someone else is using those same circumstances to win and has taken them and ran with them and won with them, you guys. And I hate to say that, but it's very true. That was something that I noticed a lot at Monations. Like, it's very eye-opening. Like, from social media, like I said, it's easy to look at these girls who are at the top and to think, must have been easy. They must have always had that, or they must have always, I don't know. It's just easy to write off someone's success when you don't know their backstory. But there was a woman up on stage who was there with her husband in the $1 Million Club, getting their $1 Million jackets. And she talked about how they came from literally living in a trailer park to now being SEDs in the company, making $100,000 a month. They went from not knowing how to pay a $150 car payment to having a free car from Monty and being able to donate their car to someone at their church who needed it. It's gonna like make me cry. So yeah, it was like really moving, and it was very telling that like we can use circumstances as an excuse, or we can use them as our fuel. And if you're not, like, there's someone else that is. And you have to know that there's someone out there with less than you who's ran with it and who has made something of themselves. And all that means is that you can do it too, no matter what your circumstances look like right now. That can change. So the woe is me, or the like pity party mindset, it needs to go, because on the way to the top, guys, there is no time for pity parties. There is no time for it. All there's time for is to use that stuff as your fuel. And when you love what you do, sacrifice honestly becomes a second nature. It doesn't even really feel like sacrifice. It's just a part of the journey, and you don't think twice about it. It's easy to tell, to be completely honest, who has a true love and passion for what they're doing and who doesn't, not just in this business, but in general, because the people who have a true love and passion for what they're doing, they sacrifice left and right for their business, even and especially when they could make every excuse not to. And that's really important. And the ones who don't have that true passion for it are the ones who will talk about it. And then the moment it comes to making that sacrifice or like putting the hard work in, they're nowhere to be found. It's very easy. Actions speak louder than words. And if you're committed, you're going to do the hard work, and there's not a question about it. So like, you know, are you willing to just talk the talk, or are you willing to put in the hard work to back it up, is really the question. And this is where the tough love is going to come in a little bit. So I hope you guys are ready for it. But there is an important conversation that needs to be had about entitlement. If you aren't willing to sacrifice, and if you're only down to show up when it's easy, then please stop talking about how you deserve anything. First of all, I hate the word "I deserve anything," because in my opinion, no one deserves anything. You earn things in life, right? You earn things by being a good person, by working hard, by giving to people. That's how you get things in life. You're not owed anything. You don't deserve anything, but especially if you're not willing to work for it, if you're not willing to put in the sacrifice and the hard work when it comes down to it. My favorite quote is success is rented, not owned, and the rent is due every day. Okay, so success is rented, not owned, and the rent is due every damn day. So stop thinking that you deserve anything if you're not willing to put in 110% to get it. And this is very important as well. Stop comparing your success to hers and complaining that you're not where so-and-so is in the business when she's all in and you're not. When she's 110% in and you're playing at 50%, you can't even be mad that you're not where she is, you guys, because you're not at that level of commitment. You haven't made that decision and she is, or she has. So nothing is stopping you from being where you want to be other than the fact that you're not all in. You haven't made that decision yet. We're getting to the last little bit, guys. Thanks for sticking with me. Will you let me know if you are finding value in this, please? All right, so the work is easy, you guys. We know this. The daily work, the power hours. Okay, perfect. Thank you, guys. The power hours, reaching out to people. I mean, guys, we work from our phone. We talk about shampoo. We build up other women. Like, it's not a hard job. We can do it from our couch with our hair in a bun and no makeup on. The work is easy. It's the commitment that gets people. It's the reason that people fizzle out in this business left and right, not because the work is hard or because they're not capable. And that's honestly the sad part. It's not that people are not capable of being successful here. Anyone I know could probably work this business. It's the commitment part that gets them, that they're not willing to be there for. Hold on, Britt, I want to change your thing. Oh, that was me today in public. Girl, you got to embrace it. You know, that's me 99.9% of the time, to be honest. And before this call, until I decided to be slightly presentable. But yeah, it's not because the work is too hard, not because people aren't capable. In fact, most people are very capable of doing what we do, and the work is simple, but it's hard to be committed. It's hard to show up every day and make that decision. And that's something I wanted to say too about the decision. It's not like one and done. It's not like, oh, I made the decision, I'm all in, that's it. It's like every single day you wake up and you make that decision. It's an everyday commitment. It's not a one and done type thing. And so nothing in life worth having comes easy. We know this. Anything worth having takes hard work, dedication, grit, and sacrifice. But when you're committed to the goal, these things honestly become second nature. It's not a question of making the sacrifice. You're making the sacrifice. It's not a question of if you should wake up an hour early tomorrow to work your business so that you get your stuff in. It's like your alarm's already set. Like, you don't even care how tired you're going to be. Like, you're getting up. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a question. Like, it's not a question of, do I feel like it? And wanting it is half of the battle, but are you willing to do what it takes to get it? And not just when the odds are stacked in your favor, but especially when they're not. Are you willing to still show up and go after what you want, especially when everything feels stacked against you and not in your favor to make it happen? Are you still willing to show up and to have that belief in yourself to keep going? So the thing is here, you don't have to be perfect, but you do have to be 100% committed. And there can't be any question about it. You have to make the decision to go all in regardless. And regardless of what? Anything. Okay? You're all in, no matter what, regardless of what Aunt Susan has to say about what you're doing, regardless of how you feel when you wake up tomorrow morning, and regardless of it requiring hard work, you are all in. And it's so simple because your passion for this business speaks louder than words. Your commitment for your business speaks louder than words. You can tell me, you can tell your upline that you want to be here in the business all day long, but your commitment speaks you know what I mean, holds a way heavier weight than you just talking about it. You know, showing up is so important, and it's in the way that you show up on a daily basis. It's in the way that you're willing to sacrifice, and it's in the way that you're willing to push past adversity. That's what speaks volumes, not what you say or where you say you want to be. It's in those things. It's in the way that you show up. It's in the way that you make those sacrifices. And you can't fake commitment. It's not a matter of doing. It's a matter of showing up. It's a matter of the way that you show up. It's not something you can fake. Commitment comes naturally as a byproduct of passion and of loving what you do. So I want you guys to ask yourselves, are you committed? And are you all in, not just for your business, but for yourself? Have you made that decision, that mental decision, that shift from just being interested and wanting it to it being yours, declaring that it is yours? And are you willing to show up, not just when you feel like it, but especially when you don't? Because it's so simple, you guys. We are literally one decision. You hear this all the time, and it's so cliche, but it is so true. You are one decision away from a different life, one commitment away from your business going from A to B. And that's all it is. It's simple. It's a commitment, and it's not easy, but it's simple. It's showing up every day when 99% of people won't. It's showing up even when you're tired or when you're busy or when you can make every excuse about not having the time. It's about showing up anyway, because the tools, the resources, everything is here for you. Everything. And your upline wants you to be successful. I want you to be successful. Everyone on this call is likely rooting for you to be successful. But we can't make the decision for you. You have to make the decision that you're all in, and that you're going 110% from now on. And until then, no amount of resources, no amount of someone telling you that you got this, no amount of power hours, no amount of showing up on calls, could work 24 hours a day. But if you're not committed to it, believing that it's yours, declaring it all in all aspects, you're going to stay stagnant. So you have to be all in for yourself, for your business. You have to fully believe that it's yours. You have to declare that it's yours, and you have to show up every day for it, every single day, because any day that you're not, there is another girl out there who is. And you have to use that not as a comparison, but as motivation, because it's there, like I said earlier, there's someone with the same circumstances or harder circumstances who has been able to take their life from A to B. So use that as your inspiration, that you are 100% capable of doing it too. You just have to make that decision. And you have to be committed. Make an IGTV, show up to every single call. Oh, I love that, Rach. Yeah, we should all make our own little commitments after this. Send them in our group chat after if you want, or in your group chat, or send them to your upline or to me. I would love to hear you guys, some commitments. It's Sunday. It's perfect time to make some commitments or intentions, I like to call them, for the week, and just kind of hold ourselves accountable. If you want to send them to me or to your upline, it's a great accountability buddy. I would love to be there for you to help you. Maybe you're I need to go live 4 times a week. You know what I mean? I have not been doing that, and I need someone to hold me accountable. Reach out to your upline, reach out to me. We can together hold each other accountable, push each other to show up in the way that we need to, and it'll be a lot easier than you doing it alone. Making a vulnerability post and IGTV on skincare, statistics, science. That sounds amazing. I'm very excited to see that. You should definitely do it. And Hannah, hold Madeline accountable. Well, we all will. But yes, this is like perfect. So we can set these intentions for the week, and you can set big intentions, small intentions, and then reach out to someone who can hold you accountable for them. Make sure that you stay committed, and just know that if you go from interested to committed, you make that decision, you go all in, you guys, your whole business can change in 6 months. Your whole life can change in 6 months. Forget a year. Your whole life can freaking change, guys. And it's a decision. It's so simple. We're all capable. We're all amazing. We're all worthy of it. We all have the resources. Of course, we're going to find people. We have people in our lives who want to support us. We are the only thing standing in our own way. So let's make that decision together to be fully committed, fully all in, and let's hold each other accountable in doing so. So I will end it there. I love you guys. Thank you so much for hopping on. I know this was a little bit last minute, but I enjoy Sunday night calls to get our minds right for the next week. So if you guys need anything, I will be around all night, of course, so text me. I'm here for you guys. Love you. I will send the recording in the chat and post it to Facebook as well when it's done. So thanks, guys. Have a good night.